right, and once again, thank you, Jackie, for giving me opportunity to do this presentation today. And I can see that Danielle, who works with the enterprise, has covered a beautiful part of this presentation, telling you what it feels like to be an employee of Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, hospitals and clinics. Great organization to work for, and I can attest to that because I have been with them for so many years. I can tell you all about myself later. So as you all know, this is a county-owned hospital, and it is comprised of 3 hospitals and 11 health centers. So the main campus, which is formerly, the well-known Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, most of you will know, people call it DMC, is located in San Jose on Bascom Avenue. In the past few years, we acquired Ocano Hospital and St. Louis Regional Hospital. So I was so glad when I saw Danielle's presentation this morning and all the good work they are doing in the hospital. My clinic, Valley Health Center Gilroy, happens to be one of the 11 health centers the enterprise has, and we are located here in Gilroy. Most of the clinics are down in San Jose, and we range from North San Jose, from Sunnyvale, all the way to near Peters. It doesn't matter which part of the county you live in, you will always have a Valley Health Center Gilroy clinic close to you to receive care. The main campus, which is the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center in San Jose, is a huge facility. I don't know if any of you have had time to take a road trip to that campus. It is huge. I used to work there for so many years, and it amazed me, how the hospital has transformed itself to one of the leading centers in California, as well as the country. It is made up of 731 beds, and it's one of the largest county-owned hospitals in the state. As most of you know, it's a teaching hospital because we do get medical students, nursing students, respiratory students, pharmacy students. They all come there to get their clinical training, which is very important to be a well-rounded practitioner. You have to have your training in a very known, good managed center. It's a level 1 trauma center, which when I used to work on that main campus, it was one of my prides, working in a level 1 trauma center, because for those of us that live here, you need to know that there is a level 1 trauma center in your area should anything unfortunate called accident happens, there is a place where you'll be taken and all the necessary resources and staff are there to take care of you. It's a pediatric level 2 trauma center. The burn center there, which used to be my former home, is one of the best known burn centers around the world. Its rehab center is also well known. The stroke center, the neonatal intensive care units, we are baby friendly certified, and there is also an acute and emergency and acute psychiatric services. This is a picture of one of the rehab stories we have, people getting their rehab after a traumatic spinal cord or brain injury. You go through the rehab center, and the caring staff there helps to take care of the patient with all the innovations that they are working with, will bring the person back to as near normal as possible to continue to be a functioning member of the community or society. And I'm proud to tell you that, as I said earlier, it's a teaching hospital, and we cannot be a teaching hospital without the support of our board of supervisors. They are supportive of all the things that the enterprise is doing, whether it's students at the main campus, the VMC, or at Okano, or down here at St. Louis Regional Hospital. The board of supervisors are 100% in support of all the things we do. Okano used to be a privately owned hospital, but it's been there for a very, very long time, as far back as 1889. It is comprised of 358 beds, and it is also a huge bedding center for those who have been there. A lot of babies have been delivered at Okano Hospital, just like a VMC. But a few years ago, VMC acquired it, the county acquired it and added it to its own community hospital. And it has been thriving since we acquired it. Same as St. Louis, for over the years, when I moved over to South County, because I live in this community, one of the biggest challenges we have, especially for those who don't have private insurance, for those who have private insurance or don't have insurance at all, if you are sick, it's extremely difficult to get to San Jose to get care. But a majority of them were going to St. Louis, which was a privately owned hospital at that time. They were getting some bills, but the last few years, the county acquired St. Louis as well. And I can tell you that since they acquired it, we are delivering a lot of babies there. It is a 3-bed facility. And just like Danielle earlier stated, a lot of good nursing care is going on there. And as she was talking and telling all the GAV students that were hired and are still working there, it's really heartwarming to hear that for those who live in this part of the county, you go to school in this community, you graduate, and you get a job within your community, you care for your people. There's nothing as gravitating as that. So I am very, very proud of all the staff at St. Louis, and we are doing a lot of collaborative effort between the hospital and the clinic here at Valley Health Center, Gilroy. So going back into, the nursing community, what do we do? How can you expand your wings once you get that your RN degree? I can tell you that I know Gav a lot because as a burn center nurse, I used to come to Gav once a year or so to give a lecture on burn care, and I fell in love with the program. I happened to do my clinical study, my practical, when I was doing my MSN in nursing education with GAV instructor Susan Turner, and I'm so grateful to her and all the GAV staff. And it's also important to note that some of your students are still coming to our enterprise to get their clinical practices, and that door is still open because it's a major collaboration. I believe that in order to have a healthy workforce, it starts with education, and GAB is doing that best, and we are looking for the best hospitals to send your students to receive their clinical practices, and our enterprise is open to that. It's also important to know that after you graduate, you can get a job. With 3 hospitals and 11 health centers, there is a job for everyone within the enterprise. Danielle shared with you the process, what you need to do, where you can go to apply for that job. And once you get in, the possibilities are endless. This particular screen I am sharing shows you all the aspects of nursing practice that is within this enterprise. from staff developer, which is Danielle is one of, to clinical nurses. We got nurse specialists, nurse coordinators, nurse practitioners, assistant nurse managers, which is my role. We also have nurse managers, directors, infection prevention, public health. Yes, we do have public health services because it's part of the enterprise organization. Quality improvement, utilization management, case management, administration, and behavioral health. So all these things are all part of the nursing. And once you come in, you can spread your wings to any of these nursing areas. A great, great enterprise to work and grow in. And we did also develop our own nursing professional practice model, which was picked up from all the major professional practice modules out there. As nursing students, I know you all have gone through, or maybe will be going through the nursing professional practice modules. You know, the most popular ones, the Benners, the Watsons, the Orens, the Orots. And I love all of them because in each of them, as a student nurse, you realize that nursing is just, you know, caring for somebody that is sick. But how do you make that your care become holistic? That is where all this, where the professional nursing practice comes in. And for you students, I really would like you to pay attention when you are going through the professional practice modules, because that will determine and define you what kind of nurse you are going to be, what kind of care you are going to give to your patients, and how you yourself as a nurse take care of yourself and also grow in the profession you have chosen to be. So we also talk about, okay, we hire all these new nurses. Do we just throw them in the departments to go and start taking care of people? No, we make sure that for every newly hired nurse, that nurse goes through the training to be well equipped to take care of the patients he or she is going to take care of. So, you know, I know, you know, some people will say, oh, nobody hires new grads anymore. They're all looking for experiences and all that. Danielle did touch a little bit on that, where when you get into the hiring website, as a new grad, you'll be looking for a clinical nurse one, because as a new grad, you wouldn't expect to be hired into a clinical level 2 or clinical level 3. Those are for advanced, competent and proficient nurses. But for a new grad nurse, you are still a novice nurse, you are going to be hired into a clean one and be trained. And from there, you will grow to become proficient and competent and expert and all that. So these are the areas you can be hired, you know, you can look for opportunity in. We have acute rehab center, operating room, emergency room, med-surg departments, medical ICU, surgical ICU, trauma ICU, cardiac ICU, burn care units. We also do have the emergency and acute psychiatric services. Our family, or you know, some people call it a family center, some people call it mother and baby care center. It's all encompassed, and we are talking about labor and delivery, infant care services, neonatal intensive care services, pediatric and PD ICUs. And of course, you come into the ambulatory care, because all these inpatient services, when patients go home, their care still have to continue on ambulatory care services. And that's where the ambulatory care services come in. Most of us are what I call a one-stop shop. Like if you come into Gilroy, Valley Health Center, Gilroy, it doesn't matter whether you are a newborn that is a 1 day old or 100+ year old, you will get your services in Gilroy, because we have internal medicine, family practice, pediatrics, OB, and OBGYN care, whether you are pregnant or you are having some gynae issues. And we do have behavioral health too. So it is we call it a primary care center where you get all the care you need in one place. So again, as I said, do you get thrown into clinical practice without training? No, we don't do that. So if you are hired into the ICUs, depending on where your area of hire is, will determine the level of orientation you are going to get. If you are in the ICU, you may get up to 12 to 13 weeks of orientation. And that is an intensive orientation because it'll be like you're going back into the classroom to refresh your theory, and then you go into the into the unit to get a hands-on. So think of your skills. Think of when you were practicing in skills lab or during your practicum, you were doing your clinicals. Now you are dedicated to hands-on. Everything you have learned in classroom, you are going to start practicing it. It is an intensive orientation. And for those who have had the privilege to go through ICU training at Valley Health Center, at Valley Medical Center, do appreciate it because it is one of the places that will give you that intensive ICU training that you need to jumpstart your career as an ICU nurse. If you are hired into the med-surg department, that training is about 6 to 8 weeks as well. The same thing to ambulatory setting. Again, we take it one individual at a time. Some people will, within 6 weeks, they are up and running. Some people will take a little longer. We do appreciate that, but at the end of the day, what we want is that everyone is trying to be competent and provide a holistically compassionate care to every patient. So I just talked about this, the type of training you get. And I also want to mention that while you are getting all this training, you are getting all the support you need from the managers, from the ANMs, and you will be also assigned a preceptor and a mentor. When I saw this, I'm like, okay, mentor. People talk about mentorship a lot. Where does mentorship come in? I know for new grads, you are coming out from school, you don't know what to ask or what to need, but one of the things that you are being trained is to ask questions, know what you need, and go there and get it. So when you are assigned a mentorship, know that it's a two-way traffic. You need to come up with your need and share that with your mentor so that both of you will be at the same page. Your mentor is not going to do the work for you, but will be there to guide you on how to navigate and become a much, much better nurse. And we do have the staff developers like Daniel, who is going to also support your preceptor throughout this journey.
Angela, you're running over on time. If you could.
Okay, I'm almost done.
Okay, great.
Thank you. So this is a picture of a med-surg, the only picture I have. And Danielle went through this process with you where you are going to go and apply. But first of all, you need to sign up into this website, the SCC job, and create your own account. And I will say, if you create that account, make sure that you click the point that says alert me with jobs so that anytime there is a clean one job, you will be alerted and you can go in and apply. Okay. So I said sccjobs.org and create your own account at NeoGov. And we do have a recruitment team. They are based in San Jose. And when you apply for a job, your application will go to them and they will sort it out and send it to hiring managers. And from there, they will take it on. And I'm open for any question.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you for that very informative slideshow, and we appreciate you coming today.
She does have a question, Jackie.
And there is a question in the board. Let's see. Ava, what's the question we have?
Yes, the question is this site the same for hiring CNAs?
For hiring CNAs, yes, it is the same site for hiring CNAs, LVNs, every job. So if you go into www.sec.gov job, that you'll be looking for an open competitive icon. So you click on open competitive, it will tell you all the jobs that are available, whether it's a nursing assistant job or LVN job or RN job or other kinds of jobs that are not nursing related for non-nursing staff or job seekers, candidates.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other question?
Another question? Okay, no other questions.
No
Okay.
other questions.
No other question at this time. Okay, we will proceed on to.
Thank you.
Thank you.